So what I'm trying to tell you, Billy, is that's how I got to where I am today. And are you Billy? Billy, you there? Any, is anyone there? Anyone? Hello? There's someone here. Something's I feel like someone's watching me, like something, like maybe not a person, but like a presence. Like there's like something ghostly or ghastly or some sort of perhaps a phantom? Is there a phantom here?
Ha ha ha! This is the Phantom, baby.
Oh, the Phantom. Oh my. Uh is it sir? How do I refer to a Phantom? I've never had to do this before.
Just the Phantom,
The Phantom?
baby.
The Phantom Baby. I love it. Well, the Phantom Baby is our guest tonight or today on More Than Metal. We're going to be talking with the Phantom about how do we phrase it? I believe it's on the cover of your record here as is ghoulish rock and roll. Is that your take on it?
Yes.
And can you just share with the audience real quick what is ghoulish rock and roll?
Well, it's rock and roll in the style of the 1950s and 60s, but ghoulish.
Ghoulish. I like it. I like it a lot. Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to having a fine conversation with the Phantom tonight regarding ghoulish rock and roll, playing shows, being DIY, really hitting the country everywhere you can, how you can, and eager to hear about your tour this year, which is rather impressive, and upcoming shows. And it's October, so we definitely want to hear about what is a Phantom AD Halloween like? What's that like? So I think we're going to go ahead and cut into our opening, and we will be right back with More Than Metal and the Phantom AD. Phantom, what have you been listening to lately?
I've been listening to a podcast called History of Rock and Roll in
Hmm,
500 Songs.
wow. Is it does it go song by song or?
He picks 500 songs that he sort of uses to focus an episode around, but you get a lot of context and uh, tangents and backstory and all kinds of interesting stuff.
I've noticed that theme with you, this whole kind of like history of rock and roll, and being very in depth into like where all this came from and the early days of it and such.
Yeah, it's always been a topic I've been interested in.
And if you're, I figure there's ghosts, a lot of ghosts and phantoms come from the past, so I can imagine that be more akin to your flavor, your kind of where you're coming from there and everything. Myself, I have been listening to. I'm on one of my Dungeon Synth kicks again. I've been listening to some stuff that came off of out of season. So they issued up some older releases now into like vinyl. So I got the Leaking Crypt, is a great Japanese dungeon synth band, very interesting, very like very creepy, but very like lo-fi. And there's also the new reissue of the Murgrind record, Inherit of the Forest Throne. So this is another dungeon synth record. So I'm on one of those kicks again, which is like very flavorful for the autumn season, for this kind of Halloween season where the air is a little colder. You can hear the spirits on the wind. I like the those vibes, but that's what I really what really attracted me to you, Phantom, was this idea of how your music is haunting, but it's not. How do I put this? It's not subtle. It is rock and roll, pure. I mean, it's just pure rock and roll, classical or classic in that regard. And I'd like to know, like, what led you to this style? Like, where did you decide that this is what you're gonna present to the world?
Well, it's what I wanted to hear, and it's what I wanted to play, and it's music that I've always loved and been drawn to. Even as a child, I was really interested in songs like Johnny Be Good and Great Balls of Fire and Chantilly Lace. And so I just naturally have gravitated to that type of music basically my whole life.
Mhm. Is there and then you splice in this macabre like aesthetic, the horror elements, kind of old school like scary elements. And we've seen that in music numerous times over the decades, but yours really pulls it back into like that kind of fun scary, fun spooky kind of elements. Not just like, not I wouldn't call it like it's interesting because I talk to my students and I talk about like shock rock, they have a very different attitude about it than like say 50s, 60s shock rock, where you have guys like Screaming Lord Sutch, and you have Screaming Jay Hawkins, and even Arthur Brown, arguably. Um, what like where did that aesthetic come from for you? Like, how did you bring that into the fold?
Well, I guess all three of the artists you mentioned are influences, and it just seemed like uh it just kind of naturally happened, really, because yeah, I just like old horror movies and I like old rock and roll. And I sing about things I like. I sing about a lot of horror stuff, but I sing about other things too. And it's like you identify, I think, have it being fun is an important part to me.
That actually brings me of other things that are not, I guess I mean, they are horrible, we'll say, but not horror. The one song on Plays Ghoulish Rock and Roll that like I love, like when I first heard it, and I think it has one of the best opening lyrics of an album or like a song, is MK Ultra Rock. Uh,
Yes.
I I love that song as a who gave Charlie Manson LSD, or give me LSD and see what I do, is a hell of an introduction.
Why,
What
thank
what
you.
what spawned that? Like, I mean, I mean, obviously, it's a very interesting piece of history. I have friends that are obsessed. I mean, it's the basis of Stranger Things. But like, what brought you to like really say, okay, we're gonna like run with this very tight theme of MK Ultra?
I just thought it was a weird uh chapter of history, and I was interested in it, and I thought it would be a cool weird thing to write a song about.
And then that also brings me to another song on here, and I've seen this because I've seen your footage of you on your shorts on Instagram, on YouTube, talking about your tour, and seeing your toy collection, and you have a lot of rustling toys, which I was like are very prevalent. And you have on the song here Ric Flair Rock, which is
Yes.
Ric Flair certainly has a we'll say a complicated history, we'll say the least, but is someone who sets the tone and the pace, and I would say an energy at the least, that is very interesting. And is that also this kind of this idea of stuff you grew up with, or is it just also like kind of an admiration for like the performance that
Uh,
he provides, or where does that come from?
it's just stuff I like, and I think other people will like too. Um, yeah, and if people don't know, MK Ultra was a CIA program where they unwittingly gave LSD to participants and observe what they did.
Pretty much, yeah. I remember one of my favorite pieces of like archival footage I've ever watched on the internet. This is like early 2000s, was uh studies of basically giving LSD to like British troops and watching what they would do and seeing if they could maintain keeping orders. And I remember being like watching the commander just trying to keep it together until eventually he just sits down and he just gives up. And it's interesting part of history, I think, is a fair way to put it. So I can appreciate that approach. Um so do you have like is there a specific like so obviously we talked about some musical artists, but like what about like films? Is there, I mean, you reference a ton in your music, but like is there a specific film that you ever like either recently watched or something like that like you're like, I have to do a song about this like in the future at some point?
Uh not in the sense I'm not like pre-planning on writing
Mhm.
songs, but I have like an unreleased song that will be on the next album I
Mm,
do called Spider Baby, about the movie Spider Baby.
mm.
Um, so kind of whatever comes to me. I also have another unreleased song called Mark of the Vampire. It's not necessarily about the movie Mark of the
Hmm.
Vampire, but I did get the name from that movie.
It is a good name. That is a great name. So this month here in October of 2025, you got some shows coming up. Um, One of the questions that my co-host who's not here, Billy, asks is this question of what goes into a Phantom AD show? Like what are the ingredients for it? What should people expect?
Expect to have a good time, Daddy-O. That's the most important thing to me is that everyone has a good time. And I think I provide entertainment that everyone enjoys, whether you know who I am or not. Um, there's a lot of guitar playing and singing and
I see a lot of people dance at your shows. Like I've seen some footage online and people are moving, like they're into it.
yeah, yeah. When things are going right, absolutely.
Do you do any kind of like and you have you wear you have your garment, you have a very kind of well I is it fair for me to say kind of Elvis-esque a little bit?
Yes, in fact, a great Elvis impersonator has been mailing me custom belts, which I've been wearing on stage. It was very cool.
Really? How does one get to the point where an Elvis impersonator mails you custom belts?
That's a wonderful question that I don't know the answer to, but I'm proud to say I'm at that point.
I think it feels almost supernatural. Like, wow. Um, the part of your of
Thank
the
you,
Phantom.
Dorian. I should say his name is Dorian.
I'll give Dorian a shout out. Dorian, thank you for keeping the Phantom looking good. Uh, that is that part of doing the show is looking good, you know. Um, I do want to ask this one element here, and this is something that attracted Billy and I to you, and is how open and how explicit you are regarding your touring mechanisms, the way you book yourself. That you do have a day job you've referenced in like I've seen your Instagram videos that have been advertised. That you very much are like I am doing everything you see is me. I'm pretty like you seem to be editing your own videos. You go out and you play like I'm gonna go shred in front of Danzig's house, which is one of my favorites. Along with I should also mention I'm also a big fan of when you shred it in front of the Halloween bush.
Oh, yes.
That for me is a big deal. I just to mention if you don't want if you haven't heard, but so I'm from Merced, California, the middle of Merced, and Merced is the birthplace of Janet Leigh from Psycho, so Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. And I went to the same high school as Janet Leigh, and she's like the most famous person from my town ever. Obviously, she's like the prototype scream queen, and then gave birth to one of the greatest scream queens of all time. So seeing that, I was like, oh, he's jamming in front of like the bush. That's so cool. It sounds so corny, but it's like that is like I like that you were like able to do all that. So this DIY approach, I like to hear about the challenges of it. I like to hear about what you love about it. I'd love to hear everything you have to say about your do it yourself and making the Phantom happen. And anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, well, it was sort of by necessity. Um, because like many things in life, if you wait around for someone to do it for you, you're going to be waiting around the rest of your life. Um, so yeah, it's sort of just by necessity because I want to go on tour. Um, so I book it myself because I don't have a booking agent or a manager who's going to book it for me. And I want to same thing with videos. Like I had a friend of mine do the video for Brain That Wouldn't Die, and he
Mhm.
did a really good job.
Great
And
video.
then I just released the video for I Go Where the Party Takes Me, and I did that myself, and it already has like 5 times as many views on YouTube as the video I had a professional do. So sometimes I guess
Oh wow.
the the unprofessional approach is more appealing.
And
Um,
I think there's something to that with like I've seen that over the last like few years, especially in music, is that people want that kind of more raw experience. They want like the unpolished in a sense. I mentioned I listened to Dungeon Synth earlier. People like that because it sounds rough. It's not polished. It has the grit to it. It has the stack to it. I mean, and so do old films. They have the crap on the film from the little crap like. Um, and I think that like I don't know I really have this. I mean, I'm not trying to like fanboy here, but I have a real admiration for how you handle all this stuff. Like I know a lot of bands that DIY, but they're usually a band like a bunch of people, like 5 or 6 people, and eventually they do kind of get a manager. But man, like to knock out this quality of stuff for this is no small task. So and I like your attitude about not waiting around. But what are some of like? Do you have any kind of like tips or tricks for anyone out there like that wants to really get off their butt and do this stuff or
Yeah,
anything?
I mean, I think, well, first off, I always like to quote Bruce Lee, and you have to be like water. And by what
Mm,
that means is you have to be able to adapt to the situation that you're in. If you're like a rock, which is how a lot of people approach things, and you're stuck in your ways and you're not flexible, you're gonna have a hard time because I think as it applies to music, the way that a rock wants to do it is you just want to write songs, do recordings, and play shows and hope somebody else is going to do everything else for you. And that's like, sure, that happens to some people. That's like winning the lottery. But if you are willing to be flexible, you can create opportunities for yourself.
mm,
Um, and one place you want to start is by making videos and just using your phone. That's what I do most of the time, including on the video I was just talking about. I just shot it on a phone with a tripod. There was no, and there was no production value, so to speak, of any sort. Um, and do that type of vertical Instagram reel, TikTok content. And what I say be like water is because look, when I was playing guitar, I didn't say, "Ooh, I'm going to practice guitar so someday I can make Instagram reels."
mm.
I didn't even I don't care about Instagram reels, but it's a means to an end.
Mm,
And
mm.
then you can do stuff like you said, like, oh, it'd be interesting if I go play guitar at Danzig's house or at the Halloween Hedge or whatever, and just mess around with it. So that's something I definitely would recommend. And then, yeah, you've got to figure out a way to market yourself too. But the first step is being able to make engaging content on your own. I think that right now, the world we're in now, that's kind of step one is you have to, can I make engaging content? Which this is why, again, I say be like water, because it's like at one level, it's like, I don't want to make content. I want to play shows and write songs and, uh, you know, be a musician. It's like, yeah, me too, but you got to be like water. That's not the world we live in.
I 100%. I wow. I no, I like that. That was a better answer than I could have hoped for. Because I see, like, I love how you have on your. I'm looking at your YouTube right now, and you have like my favorite video on here. I watched because I watched it yesterday, and I watched it a little when you released it. But your epic drive video of your about your tour and talking about the tour, getting to like play like comic book stores, going to vintage malls, going to horror conventions, getting to like not just perform at the horror convention, but also getting to a table at it, meeting you met Robert Englund, was it right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends that love horror movies, and that's like their dream is just these guys that made your childhood or made your life a little bit better, just by making a cool movie. And that's part of the reason why we do this podcast is because we like talk about the stuff that makes our life a little bit better. Um, and you also did this one about Japan. Um, when you're doing those, what do you hope people get from watching these kind of your self documentaries of these tours?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I did the first one because somebody asked me to, basically. Someone just commented. They were like,
What's Japan like?
yeah, or they were like, what's Japan like? But they said like, can you like make, I don't know, I don't remember how they put it, but it was like, can you make a documentary? It was
Mhm.
something like that. Like, so I was kind of like, yeah, let me see what I can put together. And after I was kind of half thinking about it while I was there, and then when I got home, there was so much stuff where I was like, oh, I should have filmed this, but oh well, I still got some good stuff. But I guess it was just to be kind of for anyone who's interested in what I'm doing. Here it is. Here's what I'm doing.
I think
And
that's
you'll
great.
get travel tips and interesting stuff from watching those as well.
I loved your whole thing about what was the place you went to in Louisiana that had all this like
Yeah,
the
the
alligators.
Abita Springs. Oh, what is the full name? I don't know. It's if you look
Yeah,
up Abita Springs,
it's in the go see the
Louisiana.
go on the YouTube and look at the watch the video. Give it a like and subscribe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I love
It's like
that.
it's Mystery House or something. It has a name like that. Abita Springs Mystery House or Oddity House or
Yeah, and
something like that.
you're going to like the tourist traps and the roadside attractions and all that stuff. And I one of my favorite memories as a kid was going cross country to go to my cousin's wedding in Colorado and like just stopping at weird stuff and seeing it, and like some of it was like I'm not gonna lie, some of it was not great and some of it was awesome. Like it still sticks out in my mind. And do you have any kind of roadside attractions that kind of like stick around to you, or like kind of like a hold a place in your heart, even from both the tour, even childhood, or anything like that?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, when I remember uh driving up to northern like Humboldt County and driving through I think it's Mendocino County.
Hmm.
There's the Confusion Hill tourist attraction, which has been there since I want to say the 50s at least. But I saw it when I was a kid, and I think I've loved roadside attractions since then. Although I didn't see very many until I was an adult, because you
Hmm.
don't, or at least I didn't do a lot of long road trips as a kid. But I do remember stopping at the Confusion Hill, which is it's one of those gravity houses where
Oh
balls
yeah,
balls
kind of
roll up and you
like
fall
the mystery
forward.
spot, like kind of in Santa Cruz. That
It's
was the big one around here.
yeah, yeah. It's a smaller version of that, and it's a self-guided tour.
Okay. Oh wow, this looks cool. I like the aesthetic, like the yellow and red signs. Like
Yeah,
this is
hand
great,
painted.
hand painted. This is classic. Wow, like this is it gives you kind of a vibe. It kind of reminds me of a vibe between the mystery spot and Enchanted Forest up in Oregon, I think it is.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Enchanted Forest. They're always closed every time I'm driving through there. I think they're very seasonal,
I
which makes
I
sense.
I want to shout this out, and because I like to put the thing out in the world I want to have happen. But about 2 3 years ago, they had like a Dungeon Synth Fest at that place, and Mortis himself came and played it. And it's like there's a photo of Mortis in the full like prosthetic makeup in front of the giant witch head. And
Yeah, that's cool.
so what I want to say is everyone out there, if you're booking a show at the Enchanted Forest, please book the Phantom at the Enchanted Forest. Make our both of our dreams come true.
Yes, that would be amazing. I would love that so much.
um, so do you have a is there like in this last tour was there a roadside attraction you went to and you have like besides the one you shared on your blog with all the gators, was there one that kind of like it stuck out to you, but like it wasn't like filmable. It wasn't filmable. I know you stopped at the was it the Roy Rogers or which one was it? Who was
Hank
it? Hank
Williams.
Williams. Hank Williams. That's right. Hank Williams. And they were very restrictive with like photography and such, which I understand. I've been to places like that. But was there one thing you saw that really sticks out to you from that whole trip that you didn't get to share or get footage of or something?
Um, well, the Hank Williams one, like you mentioned, I did get a photo there, but they only let you take one photo and they have to take the photo.
Mm.
Um, but that was pretty cool if you're a Hank Williams fan, which I am. Um, uh, I feel like most of the more memorable ones are in there. There's some I only got a photo of the Atlanta Oddities
Oh, that
uh,
was cool.
Museum. I think I just got a photo there too, but that place is pretty crazy. The Salem Witchboard Museum,
Oh, that was cool.
Salem, Massachusetts. I'd never been there before. That whole city is a giant kind of dark tourist attraction.
I know some people that live there, and they both, how do I put this? They both thrive with that, and they also at times resent it, we'll say, like in terms of like because they have to kind of live at 24, 24,
Sure.
365 days a year. But they both also do really enjoy it and the access it gives them to those kind of aesthetics. So it's really neat in that regard. That's actually, I want to cycle back to your time in Japan because that for me is really interesting because Japanese culture has had a really interesting relationship with horror. It's ground broke on a lot of it. It's established some different genres of horror. How did that go over in Japan?
Good. Yeah, we played this festival that it's actually happening. Well, it happens every year, but it's about to happen again, called the Halloween Ball in Tokyo. And so they like it, especially rock and roll fans in Japan.
Mhm.
Love Halloween. And then there's, Japan, they're so niche with everything. I found it's in the video too, but I found this really cool like movie memorabilia, movie nerd out store in Tokyo. Um, and that was really cool to see. And it's, like in Tokyo, I think this is one thing I didn't get in that one that I wish I did. It's like to get to that store, you got to walk up like this, like three flights of stairs that are like, single file person stairs to get to this store.
During the tour, this last during summer here, was there a particular reaction? I mean, you talked about how you had this reaction to people who like drove like an hour, 2 hours, however many hours to your shows. Was there a interaction or a moment that really like with a fan or something like that, or to that degree that really stuck out to you?
There were a lot of them, too many to name, to be honest,
Mm.
but one of my big takeaways was I'm going to try to starting next year only play all ages shows or at least
Mm.
mostly play all ages shows because two things I noticed every time and the reason I didn't really realize this is because most of the shows I do locally are at bars. So I hadn't done an all ages show in a really long time until that tour. And then every time I did an all ages shows, people would bring their kids
Mm.
and
Well,
teenagers, that are fans of my music would come. So I once now that I know I have a family and young adult fan base, I don't want to exclude them from my shows. So I'm going to try as much as possible to only do all ages shows starting next year. And the reason I say starting next year is because all my shows for this year are already booked, and
mhm.
unfortunately, they are pretty much all at bars.
Yeah, I would say the growing up where I in Merced when I did like a lot when we had an all ages venue it was really cool and we could go see I saw like bands there that blew up. Um this is like 95, 96. But like if there was other venues at the time, they were mostly 21 and up for a very long time. And so the problem was how the all ages stuff was it was few and far between. I think we had at the most one venue in town that could do it, and then they would shut down for whatever silly reason. So it's yeah, that's a big deal, honestly. And I'm glad to hear you're trying to focus on that and trying to make that happen for people. Because I think like I think some of my fondest memories of like shows are going to when I was very young. I guess I just wasn't sure what to expect a lot of times. Do you have like maybe a show you went to as a young person that like you remember or sticks out to you a little bit?
Yeah, well, the first concert I went to, and it was actually a bigger concert, was the Sex Pistols,
Oh wow.
and it was like this big event called the Inland Invasion,
Hmm.
and it had a really stacked lineup. There were a lot of old punk bands. The Sex Pistols were the headliners, but the Buzzcocks and the Circle Jerks and TSOL and the Damned and a lot of other bands played it, as did the kind of current wave of pop punk that was really big at that time. Um, so
Yeah,
that was kind of,
I'm looking at the
yeah,
lineup. It's like Bad Religion, Offspring, X played.
yeah,
The Adolescents. Oh, I love the Adolescents.
yeah. The Adolescents are great. In fact, we played with them in Japan.
Oh shit, really? With Agnew and them all?
No, it's just Tony Cadena or
Ah, okay.
Tony
Tony, no.
Reflex or Tony
I wasn't sure he was on that
whichever.
one. Yeah, I know the Adolescents are one of those bands that like I wrote a report about the LA punk scene in college. So
Oh,
like
nice.
I love the Adolescents. That's a really formative band for me. But yeah, no, I could see that certainly being an inspiration. And what from that do you like? Do you hold on to that you see yourself when you go to these? You do your shows now.
Hmm. That's interesting because that's a pretty different thing. That even though it was like a punk show and punk is often an underground thing, that was very much not an underground thing. That
No,
was a
no, that's a
huge outdoor event. Um, um, I don't know what I hold on to that, but I love that. I love old school punk rock. That's my background. And I think I am definitely influenced by especially the Misfits, obviously, and
mm,
Black Flag also, but not just um, because of their music, but also they were sort of the inventors of DIY, of being
mhm.
their own record label and their own manager and their own booking agent and all that stuff.
No, absolutely. And that's always kind of the attitude I've taken from punk was very much you have to make it happen. And so I think there's a good argument to say that you have a punk I don't say punk attitude, but a punk approach, I think, to what you're doing here, which is one thing I really admire. Let me ask, because I'm going to ask the question. This is kind of a question we like to ask people that come on the show: is what is your approach to listening to music? Like when you actually do participate and you actually do want to listen to something, what do you how do you do that? Like, what do you have a ritual? Do you just put on the background? Do you have a preferred method? What's kind of your how do you discover? How do you approach new stuff that you're going to listen to?
By any means, digital or analog, I like both. As you might not be surprised to hear, I often will dig backwards to find obscure old recordings I haven't heard yet, more than looking for a current artist.
Mm,
Nothing
mm.
against current artists, as I am one myself, but that's just always been my more exciting to me. Same, I don't know why that is. It's but same with movies. I'm way more if excited if someone's like gonna do a screening of some old horror movie from the,
Mm,
you know, 40s, 50s, 60s, up to 80s than I am about something that's coming out this year.
mm.
Um, that might come from childhood. I don't know. Because even when I was a kid, when I'd go to the video store, I'd often pick out King Kong or something like
Ugh.
that. And then same with music. I was drawn to those early, exciting rock and roll songs.
All right. Well, then I think I want to round this out today with one last question. I think I'm going to ask the most important question here. Does the Phantom have a fun Halloween story they want to share?
Sure. Well, I always like to play shows on Halloween. So that's people always ask me, what do I do on Halloween? And I'm playing a show. And this year I'm going to be in North Carolina on Halloween at a place
Wow.
called the Eagles Dare. So it must be uh, run by a Misfits fan.
Mm, yeah.
But I would say being in Halloween on Japan was pretty cool and pretty exciting uh, last year, which we talked about a little bit already, but just the whole kind of American culture mixed with Japanese
Mm.
culture
Wow. What was that like?
thing.
What did you see? Like what was it? Give me kind of paint the picture for me a little bit here.
All right, so it was again with Japan and stairs. It's like you walk, it's like you get to this venue and it doesn't even look like a venue, but then you walk down some stairs and it's like a basement room that has like kind of a medium-sized room with a stage and then adjoined to a smaller room with a stage. And there's kind of bands, like a band will be on one stage and a DJ will be on the other stage, and then it'll switch to which stage has a band and which stage has a DJ. And that goes on all night. I didn't make it all night. Luckily, we had a relatively not too late set time. But and people are dressed in costumes. There's also a pretty interesting mix of people. I would say there was probably, even though it was in Tokyo, it was probably half Japanese people. And then
Hmm.
there were a lot of Americans, there were a lot of people from Europe, and there were a lot of people from Australia as well. Uh,
Huh.
so it
Interesting.
was an interesting mix of people. I met this Australian couple where it was like all they do is go to like cool events like that because they live in like rural Australia, but they travel a lot and go to music things.
It's a hell of a way to do it. That's not a bad way to do it. Shoot. No, that's a great story. Was there a costume you saw in Japan that was memorable from that night? Like it really kind of sticks out to you a little bit?
Um,
Or is this all a blur?
it's all a blur. I'm trying to think. There was I didn't see any like award-winning costume or anything like that, but it was just a fun time.
Okay. Good. Well, that's apparently where the party took you that night. I appreciate all that. Phantom, look, I want to tell you, man, Billy and I are big fans. We really enjoy what you're doing. We really hope you keep on doing it. We hope you keep on bringing us around the country, haunting all of us here, letting us know about all the horrors, real and fake, MK Ultra and Dracula's Castle. It's quite the spread of topics. I love it. And I just want to say, like, I'm really like, I'm a little starstruck talking to you. I'll be honest with you because when I first saw you on Instagram I saw you earlier this year, and I was like, I like this aesthetic. I like what's going on. I like how honest it is. I like how forward it is. I like how DIY it is. I'm gonna buy that records. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna listen to them. Love them. Follow you. Check out your stuff. I feel like I see something new from you pretty frequently. I like how honest you are. I like how forward you are. I like how real you are. And I like how you are genuinely doing, I mean, great rock and roll. It's a lot of fun. I've played this for friends and loved ones, and they're like, oh, I'm into this. And they'll be like, when this come out? And I'll be like, not too long ago. No. And I really wanted to say, man, like, I really wish you the best of luck, and I really want to catch you live when I get a chance. And I hope all of you out there can go try to catch the Phantom live. Or is it live or undead? I'm not sure. I don't want to
Or is it
presuppose
live undead?
live
I don't know. Well,
undead.
thank you, John. I appreciate you saying that so much, and I hope to make it to. Are you in Davis or Merced?
I'm in Merced.
Merced.
I'm
Okay.
between Fresno and Modesto. If you want to come to
Yeah.
my town, there's a venue called the Partisan. It is 21 and over, but that's probably the best. You would have a lot of fun playing there. It's a pretty good show. I've seen a few bands there playing. It's a lot of fun. Um, and it's a good time. And we have a pretty good. I have some friends downtown that run some Halloween say events. They do. I have a friend that hosts paranormal investigations in the old buildings downtown. There's old downtown. There's old tunnels underneath the buildings where across the street where they used to run booze and shit. So like they do kind of weird stuff like that. So if you're looking for a place to haunt, we would love to have you here to come haunt us.
Hey, I'd love to do it.
So that's the Phantom, and real pleasure to have you on. Where can people find you, Phantom? Like online, in person? Where can we go get our dose of Phantom?
It all comes down to the phantomad.com. You can find all my stuff there, but I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook as well.
Excellent. Please go check it out. If you're going to start anywhere, the website's great. From there, the YouTube is fantastic. And please go check out this gentle sir's wares on his website, his shop. He's got some great t-shirts, great posters, records, CDs, 7-inch lyric book, all kinds of cool stuff. You can even get a personal Phantom message even to your loved ones to let them know that you want them to have a spooky time. Would you do that? You let someone know to have a spooky time?
Absolutely. And that was another thing too, by some people would ask me to do that. So I just put it on my website people would say, are you on Cameo? And I was, well, why don't I just make my own Cameo?
Why don't you make your own Cameo? Exactly. DIY. Do it yourself. I had someone once say, they said the greatest gift I was ever given was do it yourself, DIY.
Yes.
And I think top down is really good on this. Phantom, thank you so much for hanging out with us on More Than Metal. Everyone out there, you can go find me, John Baltina, anywhere online at Only Play Wizards. Billy will be back with our next episode. Everyone, stay safe, have a good time, and have a great Halloween.
Have a good Halloween. Thank you, John. Thank you. More metal. Keep rocking. Stay ghoulish.
Later, everyone. Good night.